efforts.
And you've been listening to the White House briefing. We heard from the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, talking about Iran's attack on Israel, saying we don't know of any deaths in Israel and no damage, saying that they are tracking a Palestinian death in the West Bank. They are aware of a terrorist attack in Jaffa and a number of Israeli citizens killed there, that they are going to be consulting with Israel on next steps, but it appears that these attacks have been defeated. And we also heard Jake Sullivan characterize this as a significant escalation by Iran, and we, the Americans, stepped up with Israel and no one was killed. There will be severe consequences for this attack. Let's now bring in the CBC's Ithel Musa in Washington. So Ithel, let's talk a little bit more about that reaction from the United States on this missile attack on Israel by Iran.
Yeah, that's right. You know, Andrew, as you mentioned, U.S. officials are right now assessing their next steps, but they are telling American citizens in Lebanon to find commercial ways to leave that country. Officials say President Biden and Vice President Harris are monitoring this attack from the White House Situation Room, and they are receiving regular updates from their national security team. U.S. officials right now are essentially, Andrew, assessing the scale of this aerial attack. They did say just now that it was ineffective, but they do consider it to be significant. Israel and the United States have warned of severe consequences if Iran were to attack. President Biden has directed U.S. military to aid Israel's defense against Iranian attacks and to shoot down missiles that are targeting Israel. This, of course, all comes after an escalation in months-long fighting between Israel and the militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon, seen by many as Iran's proxy in the region. Hezbollah began firing rockets into northern Israel last October, a day after Hamas launched a major attack into southern Israel. That attack seen as an act of solidarity with Palestinians. Now, there are, of course, fears that this new attack, this latest attack, that it will grow into a wider regional conflict. The U.S., Israel warning of severe consequences if Iran escalates. Last week, Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon killed high-ranking Hezbollah commanders. There were 7 of them that were killed, as well as officials, including the group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. Now, while the other people that were killed in that attack are lesser known, to the outside world, they were key to Hezbollah's operations. Back in April, an Israeli strike killed 7 leaders of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps in Damascus, Syria. Iran responded by attacking Israel with more than 300 drones and missiles. So, Andrew, lots of people watching what's happening now very, very carefully to see whether Israel will respond. The U.S. saying that it was essentially this, missile attack was ineffective, but they are considering it to be significant. U.S. officials, including the president and vice president, are very, very closely monitoring what is happening. And Americans in Lebanon being told, get out if you can by commercial means as soon as possible.
And I know you don't know the answer to this question, Isabel, but it is an important question as we parse the words of Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, when he says that he characterized this as a significant escalation by Iran, as you said, that the Americans stepped in with Israel and no one was killed. But there will be severe consequences for this attack. And so the question, I guess, on many people's minds is, what could that be?
Exactly. I mean, things, of course, in the region have been escalating. Normally there's a bit more warning before these kinds of attacks happen. Not so much in this case. Many had expected after Nasrallah was killed that there would be some sort of retaliation soon afterwards. And there were questions, of course, when nothing happened. And of course, now we see that, Iran has taken some action. The question now, Andrew, remains what will Israel or the United States do, or any of Israel's allies? Will there be retaliation? And if so, what will that look like? That is indeed the question.
Ithel, thank you. That is the CBC's Ithel Musa live in Washington.